I've been struggling with prayer. Hi, my name is Alexis and welcome to Cum Caritas, where we discover, defend, and live the Catholic faith. I've been struggling on and off with prayer. Let me go back. Back in 2019, before I got my children, before I had my children, not got my children, it sounds like I bought them. Before I had my children in 2019, I was at the peak, I would say, of the ideal prayer life. So my husband and I, we lived in the city center downtown, and the church was a 10-minute walk. At the time I worked, but I had pretty flexible hours, and so I was able to go to daily mass. I would go to mass on Monday night, Tuesday morning, before going to work, mass on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So basically I was at church like 4 or 5 days of the week, and it was great. I loved it. I wish I could do it again, but I'm in a different season in my life. And around this time, I think it was September, my husband found a job working for a meat cutting factory, and because it's food and it had to be distributed early in the morning, he had to be there really early in the morning. And so we're talking about he's leaving at 3:30 to work at 4 in the morning. And I'm the kind of person that if you leave me alone in the house, I can't sleep, because I'm just paranoid that someone, if ever someone comes in, breaks through their door while I'm asleep. I don't know. I'm just weird like that. And so slowly but surely, even though I was really tired, I would wake up just as he's leaving, because I was so paranoid about being home alone. And at this time, I thought to myself, okay, well, since I'm awake at 4, what can I do? Oh, maybe I should try praying this early. And that's what I did. So I would get up like a monk, and I would pray at 4, and then I would do a rosary, and then I would read the Bible, and then I would read something related to the church. And at the time I was reading Silence by Cardinal Robert Sarah. I highly recommend, especially if you want to help your prayer life. A very, very good book. And so I got used to it after like a month. I would pray, rosary, read the Bible, read church-related thing, have breakfast, and this was all before 7 a.m. And then I would go to work for 9 a.m., something like that. This was great until I got pregnant, and then my energy just... I continued to go to daily mass, but I guess I didn't have energy enough to stay paranoid. So I'd come home around 7 and then not wake up until 7 the next day. Waking up really tired. Pregnancy. But even though I was having this minor setback, being tired all the time, I was just at the peak, I thought, of prayer life. I thought nothing will bring me down. My prayer life is always going to stay like this. Super naive. I know. My pregnancy was going great, and then COVID. I left my job. I moved back with my in-laws, and then I had my baby. COVID baby, 2020. And that just changed my life. I was, for those who've had a baby already, this, those moments when you wake up in the middle of the night because the baby's crying, and you don't know how long you've been awake, but you also don't know when the last time you slept was, and how long that, how long you actually slept. Yeah. So I just got really tired, and I found it really, really, really difficult to pray. At least pray in the same way I used to. I think we forget that prayer doesn't always look like, folded hands, kneeling. Parents know this. Nothing can compare to the fatigue that you feel after a newborn. Yeah, I just found it really difficult to pray, at least to pray like I used to to kneel and actually push myself and find the energy to speak or to even think at times. And it was around this time, like I said, I just started to compare my past prayer life with my current prayer life. And then I became my worst enemy. I was just comparing so much, and I just got so bogged down telling myself, like, why can't I pray? Why can't I pray properly? Instead of actually praying. You know what I mean? Like, I was so focused on what I thought the quality of my prayers, and I wasn't focused on just trying to pray. I would just think about like how dumb my prayers were, and then in the end I would say, like, well, what's the point? Like, this is such a crap prayer. What am I doing? That's not good enough. I am, for those of you who know me, well, now you know me, friend, I am a perfectionist. It's my downfall. It's awful. There are things like I want things done right, and good is never enough. It has to be perfect. And that hurts me a lot sometimes. And I'm trying to get over that. So this perfectionism that I was seeking turned my prayer life even worse. There were times when my baby would fall asleep, and then I would have a thought in my mind saying, you should pray right now. You have time. Baby just slept. You have a good, 2 hours. And then another thought in my mind would be, no, you need to sleep. Just sleep. Stop it. Just go to sleep. You don't need to pray right now. You need to sleep. And then I would sleep, and then I would wake up and think, wow, I chose sleep over God. You know what I mean? That this is the kind of, it's being scrupulous. Scrupulosity. Just being so scrupulous with everything I did. If you've ever read the Screwtape letters by C.S. Lewis, you will understand what I mean. There's just this constant person telling you, don't do it. So like I said, this is something I still currently struggle with. I figured this out the other day. I just need to set boundaries for myself to make prayer a lot easier and constant, and so that it makes sense. So here are some of the changes I've started, and I started like 2-3 days ago. I turn off my phone at night, and I don't turn it on until after our morning walk. But I walk every day in the morning with my children, and that's when I do my rosary. I check my email once a day during their nap time. And in general, we usually do a decade with my son as a family. A decade is very long for a not yet 2-year-old boy. I just have to remind myself that I can pray while I'm doing the dishes. If you don't know that, when you're doing something, a task that you feel is not necessary, but when you do a task that you don't like, offer it up to God. Thank God that you have dishes to wash. Thank God that you have laundry to do. Thank God that you have this crying baby that just won't sleep. And eventually, more and more, you'll start to actually like doing the things. Like, I used to really not like washing dishes. Now I really do. It's more of like I have this moment, this time to relax, to just do something on autopilot and think about God for a second. Another thing that I'm not doing is I'm only allowing myself 2 podcasts a day, and then doing housework in silence and in prayer. That's something I like to do in general, is housework, especially cooking. I love cooking, and I like cooking in silence. I love hearing, the cutting board, crushing the garlic, the whole experience. It's an experience cooking. So yeah, that is what I'm doing to help me with my prayer life. Even though I'm struggling with this, I would like to give you a few advice. that has helped me in the past and that is helping me now. When you think to yourself, oh, I should pray right now, don't hesitate. Just pray. Just do it. Don't give yourself a second to think, because then you'll think like, oh no, the baby's gonna cry, the phone's gonna ring, the bus is about to stop if you take the bus to work or back home from work. People are gonna see me with my rosary. Don't think, just pray. Just do it. Nike. Even if you're down, especially when you're down, especially when you're angry, pray. It will change your mood. You will eventually say 3 Hail Marys and just watch yourself calm down. These moments when we're so emotional are the moments that we need to pray the most, to ask for assistance, for guidance. And so pray when you're angry and just watch how fast you calm down. If you feel meh, eventually by the end of those 3 Hail Marys, you'll feel, this might sound weird, but you should ask God to give you the desire to pray more. I know, it's weird. Hey God, make me want to pray more. It sounds weird, but it works. He will give you that desire.
Ask for this gift, and it shall be given you. What father refuses his child? If you who are imperfect know how to give what is good to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give to those who ask him?
Tell him about your struggles, saying, Lord, I feel like I have no energy. I'm just so distracted. Because we are distracted right now. There's so many things that distract us. If it's not our children, it's our phones, it's our job, it's everything else in the world. So ask God to give you the desire to pray through the distractions. A lot of the times when I'm at Mass, I struggle to understand what's going on because I have one kid pulling me on my left hand and the other kid pulling my right hand. So at that moment, I just pray a little bit and then ask God for more patience, and the patience comes most of the time. Yes, ask Our Lady for her intercession. Ask all the saints and the angels for help. I mean, we need all the help we can get, so I might as well ask. Have the rosary with you or a prayer book with you always. I have my rosary with me all the time. I have not a prayer book, but I have my veil most of the time. I should just keep it. I don't have, you see, I have a baby carrier and I can't fit everything in there. And then I have a jacket here and I misplaced. But anyway, I should have my veil all the time because there are churches. There are many churches. I have a church not too far from where I live. And it's just super handy. It helps me get into the mood of praying the rosary, having that physical thing, and then you don't have to count, although you can just use your hands to do the rosary. But having these physical things with you helps, to get into the mood for praying. And like, even if you have a cross, if you just hold it, if you touch it, it helps. If you have images, if you have icons, if you have statues, just praying to it, having that image help you think of God is always handy. But carrying a rosary is great. Carrying a prayer book is great. For many, no, this is not one, but there are many, small prayer books. I used to have one that had Latin, but I left it at a church once, and so I don't have it anymore. But yeah, there you can. This is a little bit. I did make a pocket prayer essentials. So basically, these are the essential prayers. So if you don't know or you haven't memorized the essential prayers like the Creed or the Ave Maria or Our Father, I created a PDF that you can print out and fold and put in your wallet or in your purse. It's super small. I'm not a big fan of, I know there are apps like Hallow is what it's called. I'm not a big fan of using my phone to pray because I get distracted. And so if you're the same, if you prefer a physical prayer thing, the link is in the description below if you're interested. So if you want to carry that with you. So it's in Latin or in English. I like praying Latin just because it's the holy language. It is the official language of the church. And Satan and his minions don't like it. So that's why you can't always choose where you are, but at least you can choose what you have on you. You need to make time. I read this book, The Rule of Life by Haley. I only have an ebook. I don't have it physically here. I wrote it down here in my notes. A Mother's Rule of Life by Holley, Pierrot. So she said, create a rule and stick to it for about a week, sometimes less, but give it a week and change it up if it needs to be changed. A lot of the time we say to ourselves, oh, this can't be done, I have no time, but I need to do this, and it's just not possible. So she says you should, I read this a while ago though, before my kid was born, that you need to make time for that. And one good way to do that is to write it down. And I'm a big believer that if you write it down, it will have a higher chance of happening. And so I've written mine down of what I'm going to do every day. Just like how you make time for those whom you love, you make time for God. If you love him, you're going to spend time with him. If there's an adoration at your chapel, go do it. I love adoration. Fortunately, there isn't one right where I live, but go. Set aside the time and stick to it. So like I said, I know every morning I'm going to walk with my kids for about an hour, and that is plenty enough time to do a rosary. Write down your ideal routine, but don't make it too hard. I say stick to 3 things, maybe 3 small changes, and then go on from there. Don't create a super complicated rule that you won't be able to do. Just keep it simple. Like I said before, pray by offering your works to God. If you're at work and you're just feeling so much pressure and you're just, starting to get agitated, take a second, pray to our Lord, pray and ask for more patience and for peace, and say, thank you, Lord, for giving me this job. Thank you for the job that has allowed me to support my family, etc., etc. When you do your dishes, pray, thank you, God, for these dishes that I get to wash, that I can eat on. Thank you for the food that the dishes had on them. Like I said, I like to cook without music or a podcast. So for you, try to, when you have the downtime to clean or chores or whatever, just be in the moment and do that one thing. Just do the laundry, just fold the laundry, just do the dishes. Yeah, just be there. Something that I've forced myself to do most recently is to, when I'm with my children in the morning when they play especially, I don't listen to anything. I don't listen to podcasts, I don't listen to music unless I feel like he wants to listen to music, but I am there with them. I might be folding clothes, but if he needs me, if my son needs me, or if my daughter needs me, I am there with them. If you have children, pray with them. They will eventually get it. They might not understand right now why you're doing it, but they will understand that it is an important part of their lives. Right now, super cute. My son is starting to put the rosary on his head and just saying, Patris, Patris, in nomine Patris. So that's also cute when you teach your children how to pray. In my family right now, we do a decade. We used to do 2 decades, but with the little girl, it's a little hard. So do what you can. Lastly, take one step at a time. If you don't have time to do a whole rosary, do 3 Ave Marias. Do a Paternoster, or just a morning offering, something. You have time to do at least one thing. If you want to do the rosary, but you don't think you can do it in a whole sitting, well, do a decade in the morning, a decade on your way to work, a decade when you get to, divide it up in your day. Add as you go on. Like I said with my son, we did 1 decade, then we did 2. Although we're back to 1, but eventually we're going to get to 2 decades, but you take it as you go. Praying is like a sport. In the beginning, you're going to suck at it. It's just how it is. It's going to be like, God, can I have? God, can I have? I mean, some of those prayers, that prayer is still valid, but praying is not just about asking God for what you want. It's about spending time with him, and just sometimes it just means just sitting there in the silence, trying to listen to him. A lot of the times when we're praying, we're just talking and talking and talking. We never just sit there and listen and listen to what he wants to tell us. And like I said, the more you do it, the more you will want to do it.
So unfortunately my camera died because the battery died and I couldn't finish, but all I wanted to ask was, how are you in your prayer life? Are you struggling? Is there something we can pray for you? Are you at the peak of your prayer life? Let me know. And yeah, God bless.